Hey guys, so I hope the sound is okay. I'm looking out over the water and it's absolutely gorgeous. Sorry, all you get to see is some rocks. But I can hear the waves, and sometimes when you listen to the audio back, it sounds a lot louder and a lot more distorted than it actually is. So hopefully it's okay. And so last week's video, I really messed up the title on. And so Wolf, who leaves the funniest comments, let me know that it was off. But I couldn't see it. So I think I was using some sort of like tool to get the capitalization right and it auto corrected or something. But for whatever reason, I was just blind to this error. So I thought that he was criticizing the my saying feel bad, because some people prefer the grammar feel badly, but it's feel bad, not feel badly. But I couldn't see this until Phil, who I've talked about in another video, pointed it out. And then I could see it, and this reminds me that I've been wanting to let you guys know that he has a YouTube channel now, and it's amazing, and his teachings are have been some of the most profoundly helpful to me and help connect so many things and heal so many conflicting misunderstandings when you get into spirituality. So actualityofbeing.com, he also has meditations and different writings and tools on there, or just search that into YouTube to find his YouTube channel. So the theme of making mistakes sort of has been my whole week. So when I saw the title mistake, I was just kind of like the like the third thing. Like they say bad things come in threes. Like when my parents used to take care of the cemetery, we'd wait for 3 people to die in a row because it always seemed to work that way. It's not funny, but it's funny. So my lawnmower broke, and it's a pretty new lawnmower, and I'm really very fond of it. Apparently not fond enough, because when I had my dad look at it, he said that I killed the motor, that it was done, like completely done. And when I was talking to him about it, I didn't know what to do because I didn't want to spend a lot of money on a mower that wasn't going to last. And I was kind of asking it to do a lot because I like mowing my lawn, and it's a really large space to push mow. So I could feel that something was off in the conversation, and so eventually he told me that the oil was too low. It was perpetually too low. And so the deal with the lawnmower was that when I bought it, it said you don't have to change the oil. And somehow I got it in my head that meant that I didn't have to check the oil. Oops. And even more so, when it has that small amount of oil, do you need to check the oil and add oil when it needs oil? So it wasn't that low, it wasn't that bad, but it, the two things together with how much I used it and that are what killed it. And so when I realized this, I could clearly make the decision to buy another mower, and I was relieved. And I so appreciate being able to see that I was at fault without feeling at fault. And I kind of watched all the reactions I had to it. But the other thing that happened is I had this intuition or impulse to go into the eye doctor when I was last in the city, and I just wanted to get what I needed there and go. So I didn't, but I couldn't get the thought out of my head. So finally, when I went back a week later, I went in, and I'd been having a whole lot of trouble with like eye strain and headaches and stuff. And so eventually I started to suspect that she'd gotten my prescription wrong, that something was wrong. And so when I went in, come to find out, when they made my glasses that I bought in January, they put the wrong prescription in. So that's why I've been having all these headaches. I've even been like evaluating my diet and sort of changing my diet to try to fix this, because I really thought that I was too sensitive to adjusting to these new lenses, and kept thinking it was my own personal problem. So I ended up like journaling about this, and I realized that I kept thinking about, sort of like wondering at like technology and like medical research, and like how far we've come. So when you walk through the old part of a cemetery, you see like families who've lost like several kids within the span of months because of different viruses or whatever happened, and how far we've come, and how badly people have wanted these advances. And so when I was reading this Nisargadatta book, he said the exact same thing and equated it with spiritual teachings. He said like how you can just flip on a light switch. There's so little labor involved now. We've made things so much easier, and we've built on this generation to generation to improve things. In the same way with gurus, that we've continually been building on this, and now we're starting to see it really become more accessible. And it's not just that we're constantly learning to explain better and learning to teach better, and completely like sort of channeling in the moment what pointing is appropriate, but on a deeper, energetically changes nothing level. And so I started to think about how it's like a telephone game. Like little kids whisper, you start out with a phrase and you whisper it in one ear, and then if it goes right, it gets hilariously distorted. And that's what we've done with the separate self, and with the wrong foundation, taking awareness to be the separate self. And so generations after generations have taught us in this like messed up telephone game the wrong takeaway. And so it takes really getting in touch with feeling and really willing to be wrong, whether someone got your prescription wrong, or whether you're the one who misunderstood the no changing, no teching part of the lawnmower. It doesn't matter. There's no one responsible. And so the paradox of this is that we start to have the ability to really take responsibility for things for the first time without the suffering attached. And so often that's what blocks the understandings of these teachings, that we take it personally, and you know by how it feels. But when you feel something's off, when something doesn't quite make sense initially, instead of just passing it on, if you stop, are willing to be wrong and really look, it's amazing what change can be made. And so I realized the hilarity of the no changing, no checking thing that I thought, sort of like the connotations in my head of no changing, I misunderstood that no changing means no checking. When we get into enlightenment, when we get into self-actualization, and we're thinking that we're going to make the self the perfect self, and we realize that there's nothing to change, it doesn't mean that the mind can take the everything is okay as it is, I'm never wrong, to heart. We have to inquire, we have to check, we have to self-inquire. Which leads back into the meditation, which instantly reveals that there's the self is so much more than what we think we are.